So there is, of course, only one question we need answering in today's video, and that is there a major flaw within the new mini drivers, the Elyte mini drivers from Callaway? And that's what I'm about to answer. Now, the first age-old debate with a mini driver is how high do you tee it up? And well, I think it is a debate because I think it's very much a personal preference, but that is about where I would sit it. So with the tee debate sorted, the next question is what have Callaway done differently in the Elyte mini driver lineup that we've not seen before? Well, not a lot, to be quite honest with you. 11.5 and 13.5 degrees are the two head options, pretty much standard that we've seen from most manufacturers. But what I will say they've done, very interestingly, is made this adjustable weight port that we've seen in the big driver, the big brother. So we've got a fade, neutral, and a draw bias. We're able to shift that weight around. I really like the adjustability because it allows better custom fitting. And if you're going to get one of these, you're going to pay 450 quid, maybe a little bit less when it comes into retail. You're going to make sure you want to get it custom fit, get your money's worth, and make sure this club works for you. So the more custom fit options in the head, in the hosel, in the shaft options, the better for you as an end result. It's a little bit of left to right. How far does it carry the road by? Quite a bit. Well, the biggest thing that will never change, in my opinion, in terms of mini drivers per se, is the amount of control you get from the shorter shaft. So that's first swing of the morning. It's probably about sort of 85% in terms of speed, and we've managed to, well, that's gone a long way, to be honest with you. But it's just that control element. That was, in fact, the 11.5 degree head. So let's get some reality perspective on where I'm at with this. I've took it indoors on TrackMan. I've hit both the 11.5 and the 13.5 degree head. And as you can see, some very impressive results, which I'll talk about later in a little bit more detail. But I've hit the 11.5. It's only right we try exactly the same shot with that 13.5 degree head and see where they end up downrange side by side, hopefully at least. That's a better swing and a better strike and a whole different ball flight as well. That's carried a fair bit further. It won't roll out as much because we just landed into the first cut of rough. It was a straighter shot with less curvature. Absolutely flew out of there, and the first thing that I can report is that the sound and feel from these drivers, these mini drivers, is very much as I found with the Elyte. It's superb in the fact that they've got this happy medium now, Callaway, where you feel like the ball's fired off the face, but it's a kind of muted and softer sound and not a big loud bang that goes off. So absolutely love the way these feel, and on the basis of those two shots, I also love the performance. Now next up, I'm going to attempt to play these from off the off the fairway effectively, with no tee. And we're really interested in whether or not these mini drivers are versatile enough to play from a tight lie. It's very much debatable. We'll find out what happens in a few seconds. As you can see, it's a bit of a slidey, cutty one, and that strange ball I've used is so hard to see in the I've also hit the road. It's bounded on for miles. That's gone, ironically, that's gone further than the two drives off the tee. So that was the 13.5 degree head. Picked it up fairly comfortably, and that's what I like again about mini drivers, as opposed to just having a driver in the bag. They do offer an element of versatility, certainly in that 13.5 degree head. I'll switch up to the 11.5 and see if there's any possibility of picking it up off this tight lie and getting some kind of launch angle. Super impressed with what the 13.5 degree head done. I'm going to kind of remove from my head that this has only got 11.5 degrees aloft. As you can see, very much if I tried to play driver off the deck, it would have a similar sort of shot type, a sort of squeezy fade. I mean, the good news is, and I don't think, well, I know for a fact that that camera won't get anywhere near picking those up, at least I don't think. There are 4 balls that are effectively in the middle of the fairway, so that's really impressive. It is, I don't think I would choose the 11.5 degree if I was looking as an option to play both on the tee and off the fairway. it's doable to a degree, but would I feel comfortable in doing it when needed to? Then the answer would be no. I think that 13.5 degree is where there's the element of versatility. The question is, how much distance are we losing by playing the 13.5 degree and the 11.5? And I've got those answers from TrackMan. It's a really sunny day, but don't be fooled by it. It's absolutely freezing at 8 o'clock here this morning at Holywell Golf Club, but it's nice to see those blue skies. We're going to have to find a way of facing, well, away from the sun, because facing into it, I cannot see a ball flight at all, and neither will you. And I've got a few holes on this back nine that actually face that away. So we'll work something out in a second or two. Callaway and mini drivers in general, what are your thoughts? And is your opinion changed over the last few years? When TaylorMade brought this genre back effectively, I would say it was met with, I don't know, a kind of mixed response. Some people loved it, some people loved it just for that kind of whole retro look and feel. But over the last year or so, these clubs have made their way into more bags on the PGA Tour. A lot of the staffers are playing these things. I know Callaway are expecting these Elite mini drivers to be in the tour bags of a fair few golfers. And I think that's where perception starts to change, and as golfers we tend to follow. And I just wonder if your mindset has changed, because I've been on board since day one, mainly because of the control, mainly because of that additional loft. I love these things, and I think they've got a major role to play in average golfers' bags, in making that game off the tee just a little bit easier, with no real loss in performance, in my opinion. If anything, gains. So hopefully you can pick all these up. The ball in front of us was the 11.5 degree head off the deck. The ball in the distance over there, that was the 13.5 degree head off the tee. The furthest ball in the distance here, that was the 13.5 degree off the deck. And then that ball that you can see there, that was the 11.5 degree off a tee. So the performance of them was all fantastic. They all got there in a very different way. And it just goes to show you that where a ball carries to is not necessarily the all-important bit. It is often how that launch, carry and spin are all coupled together, because effectively these balls have all ended up in exactly the same position. I'm a big fan of the TaylorMade striped ball, but I've got to say this blue is particularly difficult to spot. Sit. Yeah, that's not bad. Whilst I at least try and make birdie from one of those drives, what you can answer me is this. There's a lot of difference in the kind of looks of each of the mini drivers that's available. Like I said, very much a retro feel from TaylorMade. When you're looking at this new Elite model, what are your thoughts from the Callaway lineup? For me, I like it without loving it in terms of visually. I'm certainly overcoming those looks in terms of performance, but the Elite lineup for me is just lacking a little bit. But I'd be interested in your thoughts. You know what they say, drive for show, putt for dough. Go on then, go on then. Oh, keep that camera on more often. Had a right break in it as well. So the next few shots you're going to see me play are, well, hopefully we pick them up. As I said, we're playing right into the sunlight, but I can tell you what happened. The 11.5 degree, maybe it was teed up just a little bit too low, and we got a really nice penetrating ball flight. But it's just that worry for me is that just, you're going back to the driver scenario really, and what is the gain and what's the mentality in switching from a regular driver to an 11.5 degree head. The element of control, maybe your preference in the size of head profile, but really speaking, to me, you know, it's ultimately almost the same loft as what you can get, well, you certainly get into drivers. The 13.5 degree, again, wasn't the best of swings, that sort of bit of a weak left to right shot, but it's easy to get airborne, it's easy to launch high, and that's where I get the mini driver. I'm still not persuaded that the 11.5 degree is an option unless you purely want to play it from the tee, and therefore I'd have to have a little bit of a mess around, because potentially I'm teeing that ball up just a little bit too low with that lesser loft. So that's something for me to play around with. Anyway, I think we should just have a quick talk about that data that I collected, albeit brief data, from indoors on TrackMan. Right, I'll come for a sit down for 2 seconds out of the breeze and go back into that TrackMan data. So like I said, I had a good old morning bashing these away on one of the courses there. I think it was Cabot Cliffs. Incredible graphics here on TrackMan. Anyway, as you can see, I was hitting the ball quite well, and very different than this morning in the fact that we'd been well and truly warmed up, and I wasn't swinging minus Baltic this morning. But anyway, the performance of the club was exceptional and very noticeable. The only difference between the two was the launch, and I suppose that's fairly obvious. And it was only a couple of degrees. The 11.5 degree head still launched the ball incredibly high. So it's very hard to split the two. I think this again goes down to custom fit and your ability to get in there and make this one work for you. Personally, for me, I still enjoyed, even though I was probably on average, let's say 5 or 6 yards was shorter with the 13.5 degree head. That was it. And that was in carry. Now I would imagine carry, launch and spin combined, then that 11.5 degree head is going that bit further in the overall distance. But you know, like I said, nothing major to write home about. The question of this video, is there a major flaw within the Callaway Elyte mini driver? And the answer is quite simply no, there isn't. That was purely a clickbait title to gain some interest, and the reason why you clicked on in the first place. I'm sorry, but it's true, and that's the reality of this life on YouTube. I hate it as much as you do, but that's the way life is, I'm afraid. Anyway, no flaws in this driver, only positives, I'm afraid. I know someone likes a bit of negativity. I haven't got any. Performs incredibly well, does everything it says on the tin and a bit more in that adjustability stakes. The only thing for me that I would say is that it is nothing new to the party, but then again, there's nothing new happening on the horizon for any manufacturer. It's very much repetitive at the moment. We ain't seen anything majorly different come out, and I wonder if we ever will. Right, as ever, thank you for watching, and I will see you all very soon.